board of the Touchdown Club, and I don't know why, but Coach Nelson thinks I can get some people to come in and speak, so that's my donation as one of the things that working on his team and the board of directors. We appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule. You know, we have the presentation of men of character. The person we have today is Darrell Thompson. And he has stayed the course. He really has stayed the course. He was a high school football player like you, John Marshall, all state, played at the University of Minnesota, all Big Ten, all American, still has, I think, the leading rushing record at the university. Then he went to the dark side. He went over to the Green Bay Packers. You know, this is kidding. You probably throw me off the stage for that. He played for many years at the Packers, then went on to I think he played for the Bears a few years. And you know, it's just part of life as you grow into this. For 19 years, he's really given back to the community. He has mentored 195 or 895 to 900 some boys from like 10 to 14 years old. It's called Boulder Options. So go online. If you're so moved, make them a donation. They're a 501c3. So he is a man of character and looking at those youth out there in the community. So we deeply appreciate him coming by. The schedule is he's going to talk about patience and going through life. And then you're welcome to ask him any questions you have. So please give a very warm welcome to Darrell Thompson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing today? Do I need to use the microphone so I can move around just a little bit when I'm talking? I'll just talk. Well, I want to let you guys know I'm always nervous and excited every time I get to speak to young people like you guys. I think about my time at John Marshall, and I had lunch with a buddy of mine that I've been friends with since 7th grade, yesterday. And we were talking about he's eating organic food, doing all these healthy things right now. And the piece that probably was the most exciting was still talking about these times right here. I grew up in Rochester in a really competitive environment. He said things are changing a little bit. He said, but the piece that was exciting was to talk about the relationships. We talked about our friends. We talked about some of the girls. We talked about the different things we did when we were growing up. So this time that you guys have right here is really, really a special time. I did a little bit of homework on you guys last night. So I saw you guys struggle just a little bit last year with your team. Is it 3-5? Is that the record? Lost a couple of close games. You know, the off-season piece for you guys, now it's over. You know what I mean? So like a lot of times when I talk to kids, you know what, in off-season, you gotta lift, you gotta run, you gotta take care of your body. All those things are over. We talk about your work ethic. Your work ethic that you guys use during the off-season, that's all done now. Now it's a season time. And the season can be a grind. I love basketball. My mom was a basketball player, my dad was a basketball player. Basketball practice is kind of fun for the most part. Football practice, honest to God, I never really enjoyed football practice. It's like you gotta go, and I was a running back, so almost I was running and kind of trying to run over someone or run away from them. You know, with being a lineman, a linebacker, a running back, you know, fitting up and that stuff, it's not that much fun. I said, but you only had 8 games. That's what makes football special. Football to me is so special because you don't have very many opportunities. And that's why the games are a big deal. And practice is a big deal. You might not think it is, but practice is a big deal. And actually learning what your responsibility is in practice. So that in the game, you're not surprised. This is one of my proudest moments last year of my coaching this, my little 7th grade son's football team. I had this kid that was my strong safety. I think his name was Noah. And I said, Noah, you know what? Sometimes when they run the reverse on the backside, I said, they're going to bring a guy back over here, and you've got the tight end right there. The second man in, if you're the safety, you got the second man. They ran this little pitch, reverse, the guy stopped, threw the ball. Noah batted the ball down at the end of the game. Because he paid attention to his responsibility. He listened. And it was a super proud moment for me. I was like, I high-fived him. He said, well, you said that I had that guy. I said, well, you know, a lot of times people, and even like I've been a broadcaster for 17 years, I said, a lot of times people just follow the ball. They just see where the ball goes, and they just follow the ball over there. But that time he didn't. He paid attention. Honesty. Honesty is important. I made mistakes in my life. I'm sure we've all made mistakes in your life. I think about honesty for you guys in the realm of what are you doing when nobody's looking? Because we're probably going to do the right thing when everybody's there. So if I'm here and the coach is there and he says, hey, I want you to run 10 sprints, I'll run 10 sprints. But if nobody's there, are you going to run 10 sprints? Are you going to run 9 sprints? Are you going to run half-assed and just kind of just get through it? The other thing is the decisions that you make. Honestly, when you get out of here and you're with your buddies at night and you have opportunities to do things that you know you probably shouldn't do, are you going to do those things? Because some of the ramifications are lifelong ramifications. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. They had a young man that played football at the University of Minnesota, and this one kid just went on. Jerry Kill was talking about it Monday on a speech I was at, and he said, this other kid, he came in the locker room, he decided to, unfortunately, take something that wasn't his. He said, you take something that's not yours. He said, you have to be dismissed from the team. This young man ended up losing his scholarship. Now he's out. He'll probably go do something else somewhere else, but you got to be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your teammates. And take care of yourself and your teammates. Your job, and Bobby Bell says it the best to me. Bobby Bell was an All-American, All-Pro, Hall of Fame football player. He said, you guys got to take care of each other. Because I got buddies, and I could be one of them sometimes that likes to get in a little bit of stuff or some action. You know, I got some friends that, you know what, Joe, we can't do that. We got to come back. We can't get in this. I can't get in that melee tonight with that other group of guys that we want to fight or anything like that. Let's stay together because I don't want to be ineligible. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to see somebody get hurt, really. So you got to take care of each other. That's part of it. How about patience? Everybody can't start. I wish everyone could start. Everyone could play. Everybody could be a star. And I've been on both sides where I was sitting and kind of waiting for my opportunity, and I had the opportunity to be a star. And I didn't like sitting and waiting and watching in high school. I didn't like sitting and waiting and watching in college. I didn't like it when I was in the pros. But I knew that I had to be patient. And I had to be ready. Because opportunity most likely is going to come. I heard someone say that their son is 8th string at another school. 8th string might not get an opportunity later on. But for the most part, if you're patient, if you work hard, if you show up at practice every day and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get an opportunity. The coach is going to find something for you to do. But you do have to be patient. And you have to be, to me, a little bit more, not more, but be positive. So we're looking for somebody who can be positive, someone that can actually be there to support and care about their teammates. This is a big one, this next one. Discipline. Discipline. Every single day, football's a grind. Life is a grind. And the discipline, as I was thinking about this last night, is like, I was with someone yesterday and said he's a recruiter. And they're looking for athletes, guys like you and myself, to be in job because they know that athletes typically operate, they have a higher motor. And they want to do more, and they're willing to make calls and get out and do things on their own. It's that discipline that you guys learn here, of running into each other, tackling each other, blocking each other, taking care of each other on a daily basis. That discipline rolls out into your whole life. It's something that you guys are learning now and that you can take advantage of your whole life. But you do have to have that discipline, and this is where you start to develop it. The last one for me is, and most important, is persistence. Sometimes people say, Darrell, yes, I was athletic. My mom was extremely athletic. My dad was extremely athletic. And I told my kids are going to college to play sports. When I got to college, everybody was extremely athletic. And I think the piece that separated me apart, that separates you guys apart, and separates especially football players apart, is persistence. And I actually wrote down the definition of persistence by Calvin Coolidge, and I want to read it to you guys. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence alone is omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and will always solve the problems of the human race. So they're saying it doesn't matter how big you are, it doesn't matter how strong you are, but if you show up every single day, and that was kind of my motto. So I believe, when I showed up at University of Minnesota, there was running backs from Florida, Ohio, Minnesota, and there were guys that did things I couldn't do. Guys that could spin and jump. I said, I gotta show up every day. And I learned how to get my pads down. I learned how to do all the different things that they asked me to do every single day. But you have to do it every single day. So we talked about it. Unfortunately, like coaches say, it's a grind. You need to, linemen, you gotta learn to get your hands on the inside, reach, extend. The defense linemen, you gotta learn how to keep them off you. Running backs gotta run with their pads down. The receivers gotta trust that the ball's going to be there. You run the routes full speed all the time, even if you haven't gotten the ball for the entire game. But that persistence is something you got to do. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. My last one, and I'll let you guys ask me some questions, that I think is the most important thing, and probably the key for you guys is trust. You have to trust each other. If you don't trust each other, it can't work. I used to return kickoffs. Honest to goodness, I didn't like it very much at all. But I was kind of willing, and I was semi-daring when I was young and my body was fresh, to trust that they used to do a wedge. Remember Coach Nelson, the wedge that's banned now? They used to have a wedge, a group of guys that would join in front of me, and I got to trust that I could, if I run full speed in the back of that wedge, that there's going to be a hole. Do you think there was a hole there every time? I have one friend that apologizes to me to this day because my face mask and my face got messed up from this guy at Purdue. This guy had a bandage on his head, like blood dripping from him. Literally, it was like right out of a movie. This big guy that didn't know any place, but he could run down and blow up the wedge. He ran down and blew up the wedge and blew up my whole face mask, but I did trust that that hole was going to be there. And sometimes it was. And where's the kickoff return that in here? All right. You heard you want to go east-west or do you want to go north-south? One more time. Yeah. We want to go this way. I don't want you going that way. I want you going this way. But you got to trust that those guys up front got your back and they're going to take care of it. Running backwards, fan out, that you can get up there. The receivers. You're not going to get the ball every time that they pass it. And trusting that if you run the route that you're supposed to run, that the quarterback's going to throw the ball to you, it's not going to happen every time. And this is my point being, and I'm getting a little bit twisted up, I want you to realize that you have to run it every single time like you're going to get the ball. I know we all have heard that. You should all have the fake like you're going to get the ball every single time. It doesn't always happen. But when it does happen, if you do it every single time, that's the trust that you need to have. The role player. I'm sure there's some people in here that are role players that haven't had very much of an opportunity to do very much. You're going to get an opportunity. And you have to trust in your teammates, trust in each other, believe in each other, and believe in the coaching staff. If you do that, you guys are going to have a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for success. So those are the comments that I had this morning. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than willing to stick around and answer some questions for you. But I really appreciate you guys having me out here today. And I do wish you guys the best this season. And I hope you guys realize this truly is a special time. Yeah, I know you guys have 8 games, and that's one thing I like about coaching football and coaching my son's team. I think they play 6 games, He's in 8th grade. I coach 6 games, that's it. Basketball seems like it goes on for like ever and ever. Football's short. It's important, and it's special. Very, very special. And the relationships you guys here are lifetime, lifelong relationships. Treasure them, take care of each other, and thank you very much for having me today. Any questions, or is it time for breakfast? Yes. How did I handle fame? Well, you know, I never considered myself famous, but I was blessed to have the opportunity to play football for John Marshall in Rochester, University of Minnesota, the Green Bay Packers, and I always considered myself a regular person and treat everyone else like a regular person. And that's just the way I've gone about my life. So that little bit of, you know, my 15 minutes of really being very popular and being drafted and having all that type of stuff is I've just kind of remained even keel and always tried to have fun and, you know, just kind of stick with it. So I'm not, I wouldn't consider it famous, but I mean, I had a little, you know, a little bit of fame. I guess you could call it that. Yes?
Can you tell us about your organization now and what you do? Your mentorship program?
Yeah, I run an organization called Boulder Options. So I've been doing it now for 19 years. We started out as an activity-based mentoring program. So we started out just running with kids 3 months out of the year. And what we do now is we work with kids 7 to 17. We do running, biking, homework, tutoring, speaking engagements like this. And the goal is to introduce the kids to a healthy lifestyle. And I think you guys are, and I witnessed it this morning, and my kids are pretty much the same way. Everyone's parents dropped them off, and they gave them a hug, and gave them their little, you know, sandwich or whatever it is. Everyone's kind of rolling in. Typically, the kids at Boulder Options come from more difficult environments. They're truant, they're first-time offenders, and our goal is to introduce them to a healthy lifestyle. So I've been involved with Boulder Options, started as a program coordinator 19 years ago, and I was a program director, and I was executive director, and I was named president about a year ago. And last year we had about 960 kids go through our program. This year we're at a little over 1,000, you know, right now. And so it's my passion, kids in the community, and I think it's also good for you guys. I'm proud of my son. He just kind of started going back, and you guys probably do some of this where you come back and work with some of the younger kids, because whether you guys know it or not, the younger kids look up to you. You know, if you're whatever you're doing in Dairy Queen, if you're throwing ice cream at the wall, they're going to want to throw ice cream at the wall. If you're sitting there like nice and you open the door for an old lady when she comes in, they're going to be like, oh, that's good. That's a good role model. And that's what you guys want to be. Because we have enough negative people in our world right now. That's for sure. So that's a big piece of what I do. Besides, I've been doing the broadcast for university for almost 17 years now too. But Boulder Options is my kind of heart and soul, and I'll be at it for still at least a while longer, as long as I can hang in there.
Oh yeah, how do you compare high school, college athlete today to when you
I think it's changed. I think it's better. I think we just know more. Even in my process from 1986 or 1984 to 1994, my training I learned more and more every single year about, you know, just rest and all these different types of things. That's one thing I didn't talk to you guys about, and I know it's popular for you guys to email and text and Facebook and all that type of stuff, but the training has gotten better. I think people just need to take advantage of it. You need to run, you need to lift, you need to, you know, 7-on-7. I never did 7-on-7 until I was in college. So I thought, well, we had this drill. I had no idea what 7-on-7 was until I got in college. I know you guys have been doing it. My son's been doing it since, seems like, you know, about 8th or 9th grade. So it's changed. But the actual training, people are smarter, they're resting more, they're taking advantage of it. So I just think it's improved overall. But you need to take advantage of it. And the number one thing that you need to do is think about what you put in your body. The late night donuts and pizzas and all that type of stuff, you need to actually think about what you put in your body. And you need water. You can't get too much water. And you know what you need the most? Rest. you guys actually need to rest. You need to sit down, turn off all your stuff, and actually just go to sleep and let your body recover. So the only thing I learned, the thing that healed me the most out of all the stems and all the stuff, I said, the thing that healed me the most was ice. Ice is still the best medicine, and rest. When I slept after ice, even when I had my hip replacement about 5 months ago, the things that healed me the most were ice and rest. When I slept and when I woke up, my body felt better, my hip felt better. So those are that's one of the, I think, the most important pieces for you guys.
Did you always want to go to you, or?
No, I didn't always want to go to University of Minnesota. That's a great question. I wanted to go to Nebraska. I was a tailback, I was a downhill tailback. I wanted to run behind the big red machine, and I went to visit Nebraska and about 4 other schools, and quite honestly, it was interesting because there was a gentleman at Iowa, and he said, make sure when you go to school that you're at a place, in case you never get to play football, say you blow your knee out the first day of school, that's a place where you want to be. I said, okay. I said, well, that kind of rules out Iowa. Don't probably want to be in Iowa. I was right there. This guy puts his hand on my shoulder. Great idea. So I take your advice. So, and then when I went to Nebraska, and I still probably would have gone there. And here's what's funny. I've told my wife this like 20 times. The guy said, you know what, Darrell? We don't have a whole lot of pretty girls here. I said, okay. He said, there's not much going on here in Lincoln, he said. And he said, but we play football. And I was like, okay. I said, well, do you guys have tutors? He said, yeah, we got that. I said, do you have a summer work program? He said, we got that. Every other place I went on and elaborated tremendously about their tutoring and about their off-season program. All they talked about in Nebraska was football, football, football. And I said, I love football. I said, I don't think I want to be stuck in Nebraska forever, even if it works out and I play there. I said, and there's nothing there. And he said there's no pretty girls there. So between the fact he said there's no pretty girls there and the fact that it was football, 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 I wanted to look at like, what can I do when I get done with football? And Minnesota and Minneapolis had far more opportunities. And I bump into Nebraska Cornhuskers here, I bump into Michigan guys here, Wisconsin guys. They end up here a lot. We're spoiled. I mean, like just within, we can throw, you got Cargill, General Mills, 3M, we got all this stuff is right here. And we're just, there isn't anything. We went back to play Nebraska this year. It hasn't changed other than the stadium's nicer from my recruiting visit. There's nothing. But they play football and they did beat us up. So I'll give them that. But there's nothing. High school, yes, which I enjoyed the most. High school was my funnest time of playing football. High school was very fun. College was fun. College pro football was cool, and it was neat to like get paid and to hang out with Brett Favre and Reggie White and all, and that was fun. It was really, really neat and cool and an honor. I said, but I didn't have as much fun as I had in high school with the guys I played with on all my little pee-wee teams, and you work and you play together and you're excited, you hang out and all that type of stuff. I didn't have as much fun as I had in high school. So this, like I said, this is a really, really special time. Yes? I always got along good with the offensive coordinators. And the offensive coordinator was Larry Beckish. Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator when I was at the university, and I got along. I mean, as long as he let me run the ball, I was pretty happy. If he called my number at least 20 times a game, I was happy. I was a little selfish, but I wanted the ball. Go ahead, buddy. Yeah, there was a lot of things I would change. If I could, yes, if I would do anything differently, if I could start like back over, kind of, right? Yeah, I would probably rest a little bit more, probably train a little bit smarter, but like in general, like the decisions I made, like on the college and pro and those type of things, I wouldn't really change that much. It was a tremendous blessing to be able to play, but like just going back, I don't have any like huge regrets for anything that I did or decision-wise or University of Minnesota or what I do now or anything like that. Just probably, I think, well, maybe one thing, I think at school, probably focus a little bit more on school. I focus on it, I did what I need to do, but you have a lot of time, and you guys might feel like you're busy, you young guys, you're not really that busy. You know what I mean? You think you're busy, like it's a tough day, you know, you're not really that busy. I mean, ask your parents, we're busy. You know, if I think about feed my kids, go to work, get you guys your stuff, you know, pay the bills, run you guys around at night, you know, all that type of stuff, and you guys just kind of, you know, you're sitting there texting, Facebooking, talking, you know, just wait, you'll be over in the driver's seat in a couple of years. Yes?
As a pro, what team did you get most pumped up and want to feel to play against?
For me, it was the Vikings and the Bears. The Bears were a huge rival of, obviously still are, of the Green Bay Packers, and the other big rival is the Vikings. And then growing up being kind of a Viking kid, kind of, because I met a lot of Vikings during my like junior and senior year. I did some things with Darren Nelson and DJ Dozier, some of those other guys. So I started to know a few of the Vikings, and they were very, very nice to me. And there was one or two Vikings that were Gophers that were playing when I was playing. So it was a weird experience to be on the field with Chris Dolman and you know, Joey Browner when like 5 or 6 years earlier I was in high school, kind of like just watching, you know. So it was a weird, humbling experience. But those are the Vikings and the Bears are always like just. I mean, they bring in old Packers to remind us that. There's like, you know, I'm the young Packer sitting there, and this guy Willie Wood comes in. He's an old Hall of Fame Packer. He's like, you know what? We hate the Vikings. And I'm like, really? So you know who else we hate? We hate the Bears. It's like, okay. You know, he talked about Focus, he talked about Bill Sayers, and I was like, oh, I said, so I guess that's who I hate. You know, it's good to know. I'm the same team. Yes.
Do you have any good like Favre stories?
That I can talk about? You know, Brett Favre is a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's really smart. And I think my favorite, Brett Favre was a joker, comedian, a little bit of a, you know, but we all were a little bit when we were young. You know, you do things, you make mistakes, but Brett was smart. He was a competitor. And like you talk about, like this is my example of making sure you do. Brett Favre, we had this I was playing halfback. I go in motion across the backfield. I go out and I run and running backs don't usually run backside out routes on plays, all right? So I'm running this play, first play of the game. I've been running this play all season. It's like November, it's kind of cold. We're playing a game in Milwaukee. First play of the game, I go in motion, they call this play, I run the little deal, I run this out route on the backside. Brett's over here. Brett has a cannon, all right? So I'm over here. I'm open. But I've been open all the time, all year long on this play. They don't throw it to Sterling and throw someone else. First play of the game, Brett throws the ball to me. I make one guy miss, and I just go like 17 or 18 yards. Brett was very smart, and you had no idea where he was going to throw the ball. So everyone had to be ready. That was the awakening. Like a good quarterback, you don't really know where he's going to throw the ball, you know. And that was Brett. Good guy, and he had some other stuff too. He was a fun person, very fun person. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I scored a touchdown once to like kind of seal a game, and I was in the end zone. I think I was going to spike the ball, and then Brett was running towards me, and most like we all do, we celebrate, we run and like hug each other or something. Brett was coming at me, and then he like wiped me out. He actually like form tackled me, and I was shocked, and I think I said something to him, like, you know, what are you doing? And I didn't get hurt, thank goodness. And he did it like 2 or 3 weeks. And Mike Holmgren said, the next time you do that, I'm going to fine you $10,000. He said, because our guys aren't ready for that. Darrell's going to celebrate. We're all saying, you're tackling people? You only get tackled in games. He said, we get tackled in the games, we get tackled in practice. The quarterbacks wear the red shirt, they're guarded. So yeah, Brett did tackle me, and I was one of the last people. He did it to like Chimera like the week before and someone else, and then thought it was kind of funny. Then Mike Holmgren's like, you saw that I was like all not relaxed, and Brett's like, just like wipe me out. Not good. I think I was his last tackle, unless he intercepted. Unless he tackled someone and intercepted. Yeah.
What's the most terrible impact
I'd probably say there was a gentleman, Willie Pete. He was a running back coach when I was in Green Bay. So for me, it was the position coaches. Head coaches are great, but the position coach was the one that kind of had the impact. That's who I dealt with like on a daily basis. And he was a good man. He was a man of character, and he had us focus on what he felt like was important besides the game of football and of family and community. And he had us at his house, and he just kind of talk and slow things down a little bit. So he had a big impact on my life. A good man. All right, thank you very much.
Well, give Darrell a hand because he's got a busy schedule. Have a great season. Enjoy listening to Darrell and K-Fan for announcing for the Gophers. Enjoy your practice, enjoy your coaches, enjoy the game.